slope-intercept form. Back at skill 28 when I told you slope is one of the biggest concepts in algebra, slope-intercept form also huge concept. This is the capstone of everything to do with tables and graphs and even number sequences. All right, we've actually seen this before in a different context, but this is what we're going to look at, slope-intercept form. So you want to learn this. Slope-intercept form is a way of writing an XY equation, okay? Y is isolated, it's by itself, y equals, and then slope is the thing that's multiplying x, and then we add in a y-intercept. Add in a y-intercept that traditionally gets called b. Okay, so how do we write an equation in slope-intercept form in our various contexts? Let's look first at the graph. You should at this point know how to find a slope. All right, I'm going to pick 2 points. So this is -2, -1, and this is 2, 5. I can use my slope formula, y minus y divided by x minus x equals the slope, or I can use my counting methods. Make my straight up and down, how far am I going? Straight left to right, how far am I going? So I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I would do 6 over 4. All right, you're going to see that you're getting the same thing here. 5 minus -1 is 6. 2 minus -2 is 4. All right, 6 over 4 is the slope. It would be best if we simplify that down 3/2, or even turn it into a decimal, 1.5. So that's one piece that we need, our slope. The other piece we need is an intercept, and specifically we need the y-intercept. So where does this line cross the y-axis? It crosses the y-axis at 0, 2. So our y-intercept is 2. We have a slope, we have a y-intercept. Now we just do the equation. All right, y equals slope times x plus y-intercept. Put my numbers in here. Y equals 1.5 x plus 2. That is an equation of this line. It can be used to find every other point on the line. So for example, if I wanted to know what does y equal when x is -4, I can just do the equation. 1.5 times 4 is 6. 1.5 times -4 is -6. Plus 2 is -4. When x is -4, y also is -4. Let's double check and see that that's actually true. Backwards 4, once 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4, 1, 2, 3. Right where it's pointed. Okay, so that's the power of an equation, and this particular form makes it very easy to find y values if you choose your x's. I'll do one more of these, then you try the other 3 before I do them. So, actually, I'm going to do this green one. You're going to do the blue and pink ones. And then we're going to need to talk about that white one. Okay? So, slope, y-intercept. Y equals mx plus b. I don't remember what I said I was going to do. I'm doing green. Green, let me find my y-intercept. That is 0, 6. Looks like we're crossing the axis here, or it looks like we're crossing the grid lines there. We're going forward, 6, down, 4. Loving the 6s and 4s today. This time though, we're upside down from how we were before. So our slope is -4 over 6, or -2/3. Y-intercept was 6. Final answer for my green equation, my green line, is y equals -2/3. That's the slope times x plus 6, because 6 is my y-intercept. Hit pause. See if you can do the same thing for the blue line. See if you can do the same thing for the pink line. Then unpause and check against what I do. Notice, instead of writing plus -4, I wrote -4. Remember, they're the same thing for that pink equation. Okay, let's talk about the white one. What's different about this white line from all the other ones that we looked at so far? Yes, you cannot see where it's crossing the axis. So, you got a couple different strategies you can use. There's the strategy from lesson 36, where we pick a point that we know, like -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5, +5, and we count from there. All right, the slope of this line looks like it's 3, so I could go forward 1 up 3, forward 1 up 3, forward 1 up 3, forward 1 up 3 until I reach the axis. So I'm at -4, 8, and -3, 11, and -2, 14, and so on. All right, you can use that counting technique from lesson 36 when we talked about intercepts. The other thing that you could do, my preferred method, is start to write the equation. So we already know that the slope of this is 3 over 1. Slope is 3 over 1. So we already know that the equation is going to start y equals m, slope, times x, plus, and this is the piece we don't know. When does it cross the axis? Now, pick a point. Any point. I'm going to choose this one here. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7, -1. This value, x, y, should solve that equation. So I'm going to insert that x and that y. When x is -7, y should be -1. And then we're going to create a stepper equation. -1 equals 3 times -7 plus, I don't know. Do your math. -1 equals -21 plus, I don't know. Add 21 to both sides. 20 equals the thing I didn't know. All right? What does that mean? It means that my y-intercept must be 20. And that will mean this is my slope-intercept form, 3x plus 20. I can double check. Remember that point we already had, -5, 5. Does this solve for that? 3 times -5 is -15, plus 20 is +5. Yes. Okay? There's a third way that you could deal with the equation, and this way actually will work for all the types of situations you have. If you're comfortable with point slope form, which is lesson 29, 10 lessons ago, point slope form is a pretty easy way to write equations. So pick a point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6, 2. The slope we already know is 3. And if you remember back from lesson 29, point slope form looked like this. Y minus y1, or y minus our y value, y minus 2 equals slope 3, parentheses, x minus x1, or x minus our x value, minus negative 6 plus 6. Okay? And why I called it a stepper equation is because then I can use this, solve for y. So that's going to involve distributing the 3. 3 times x and 6. We got y minus 2 equals 3x plus 18. Add 2 to both sides to isolate y. Y equals 3x's plus 20, which is what we had before. So it's another way to get the same equation. Lots of pathways to get this slope-intercept form, lots of connections to older skills. All right, same idea here. You're going to use some of the same techniques. If you're given 2 points and you're told to write an equation in slope-intercept form, first thing you're going to want to do is find the slope. So, red slope. Remember your slope formula. Y minus y equals x minus x. Y on my second point minus y on my first point equals x on my second point minus x on my first point. So, negative 8 minus negative 10, positive 2. 6 minus 2, 4. Slope, 1/2. All right, give me my slopes for my other 2 before we go further. Hit pause, see if you can remember how to get the slope for the blue and the pink equations. All right, you should have come out with a slope of 5 or 5 over 1 for the blue points and a slope of negative 4 for the pink points. All right, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to start our equation. So back up to this red one. Start our equation. Y equals slope 1/2 x plus something. We want to figure out what that something is. Use one of our points to find the something. I'm going to use 2, negative 10. So when x is 2, we want y to be negative 10. When x is 2, we want y to be negative 10. So 1/2 times 2 is 1. What do I need to add to that to get negative 10? I need to add negative 11. Negative 11 plus 1, negative 10. Okay, so that means that my y-intercept is negative 11. That's my equation. See if you can do that with blue and pink. All right, I'm going to do this blue one, the point slope form method. Y minus 6 equals slope times x minus negative 5. All right, slope, using that point. Distribute, y minus 6 equals 5x's plus 25. Add 6 to both sides. Y equals 5x's plus 31. Doing this pink one, slope was -4. Y equals -4x plus something. Pick a point. I'm going to use 3, 6 because I like positive numbers better. When y is 6, x should be 3. -12 plus something equals 6. That something is 18. So that's what goes here. -4x plus 18 equals y. I can use my other point. So I used 3, 6 to build that. I can use my other point to test it. -4 times 5 is -20 plus 18 is -2. -2, okay? When x is 5, y is -2. All good. If you got a table situation, same deal over and over again. All right, you want to find slope. Remember how to do that? Pick 2 rows. From 5 to 9, I'm going up 4. From 16 to 28, I'm going up 12. 12 divided by 4 is slope of 3. All right, you can do the same kind of thing we did in lesson 36 to find the intercepts for this. You could keep the intercept's going to be somewhere between -8 and positive 16, right? Because we want x to be 0 at the y-intercept, okay? Or you can do what we've been doing. My preferred method, start writing your equation. Y equals 3x. Why am I writing y equals 3x? Because it's y equals slope times x. Plus my y-intercept, which I don't know yet. Pick a point, any point. Let's flex our negative skills. -3, -8. When x is -3, 3 times -3, we want y to equal -8. What do I need to add to make that so? Make that work. 3 times -3 is -9. -8 equals -9 plus 1. -9 plus 1 is -8. That means this was supposed to be 1. This was supposed to be 1. All right? Y equals 3x plus 1. Double check with this big number. 14. 3 times 14 is 42. 42 plus 1 is 43. Just like we want it to be. So that is writing equations in slope-intercept form. Now, graphing equations in slope-intercept form. Making tables from slope-intercept form. A lot of stuff becomes easy when you have an equation in slope-intercept form. Let's say this orange one here. If I want to make a table, it's easy for me to choose x values, -3, 2, 8, and just solve for y. 5 times -3 is -15 minus 6 is -21. 5 times 2 is 10 minus 6 is 4. 5 times 8 is 40 minus 6 is 34. Okay, easy to make a table. Easy to find ordered pairs. If I want to say 2 something, 5 times 2 is, I already did that. 10 minus 6 is 4. Easy to graph. I know that the y-intercept is -6. So I know it crosses here. I know that the slope is 5. That means I go up 5 for every 1 that I go over. Okay? That's a graph of the orange line. See if you can make a graph of the other three before I do. Hit pause, see if you can graph the other ones. All right, I used green for orange, I'll use orange for green. If I want to graph this, where am I crossing the axis? I'm crossing the axis at y equals -4. What's my slope? My slope is -1/2. Down 1, forward 2. Down 1, forward 2. That's the green equation. Blue. Where do I cross the y-axis? +7. What's my slope? -3. Down 3, forward 1. Down 3, forward 1. All right, makes it very simple to graph the line. All right, if you haven't passed skill 20 yet, where you got to graph linear equations on the same graph and find out where they cross each other, topic 39 might make 20 a piece of cake. I don't even have to necessarily make all the tables. Pink, where do I cross the axis? At -3. What's my slope? Forward 2 up, or forward 1 up 2, up 2 forward 1. Interesting. It went through all these other points that I already graphed on my other lines. Okay, so that is point slope form. My fault. That is slope-intercept form. That's the power of slope-intercept form. It makes a lot of connections between the topics we've already looked at. One more connection. Lesson number 26. When you were writing formulas, and I told you f of n equals something times n, and that something was, what are we counting by? The rate of change, the slope. What are we counting by? We're counting by 6's. And then an adjustment plus, what's the number that comes before the first thing in the sequence? What's the 0th term? Okay, that is, what does y equal when x is 0? Or what is the y-intercept? So you actually, if you already handled skill 26, already knew how to write something in slope-intercept form. It's just not what we were calling it at the time. All right, tons of connections. This is a really big deal. Slope-intercept form is something that you want to learn well. It will get you through half, maybe, of constructed response type activities that test makers throw at you. So learn it well. Ask questions if you need to in class.